Welcome to Cowboy Boys Podcast. With me today, a very special guest, Zandruh.
Wow.
I want to introduce you as like a sommelier, but not. You're more than that. Or is that like a certification?
So I have certifications. I have my WSET2, which is Wine and Spirits Education Trust, I think is what it stands for. And I have it in both spirits and in wine, but only the level 2. So
There's levels?
There's levels. There's levels to this.
Where do you get that?
You get it through a company in England, and you take a course either online or in person, and then you take a test.
Is that the certification? Like, because I know in the IT world, there's like the A+, and you get in IT, it's no one cares if you go to college for computer.
Yeah.
Computer science will help, but it's like, no, you need these certifications. You need to pay $200, $2,000 and test, and then prove you know your stuff. So, in the industry you're in, what would that be?
Wine and spirits or bev alc industry.
Because you're not like a bartender. I have been. You have been.
I have been. So my background is I'm very good at import and export. I have experience importing alcohol and exporting alcohol, primarily United States, EU, UK, and couple countries in South America.
That's what most drug dealers say.
Yeah.
They work in imports and exports, which is literally your job.
Alcohol is a drug, so I am like a fancy drug dealer.
Would you say it's your favorite drug?
Oh, easily.
Hands
down.
It's not mine. It kind of
tobacco
is.
Yours?
No, I don't smoke unless I'm like drunk.
Okay.
I've smoked an entire pack of American Spirit Blacks in one night.
Jeez.
Without like ever smoking. It was like my first cigarette.
How did you sound the next day?
I think I sound fine. I don't know. I'm weird. I don't know if I was smoking them right or whatever, but yeah, smoking, I don't like it. It's too stinky. I'm sensitive to smells.
So what's your favorite drug then?
My favorite drug of the legal ones might be caffeine.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Caffeine,
yeah.
Or if I had, any kind of like stimulant I like for my ADHD brain. But I think truly my favorite drug is caffeine and alcohol mixed together. That's like I call it autism Gatorade. If you're going to go to a party and if you have a little bit of the tism, you take a Rockstar or a Red Bull, you chug 2 beers, and you are a normal person.
I mean, there's the reason why Red Bull vodka is so popular. Also, the reason probably why espresso martinis had their big boom right when the world opened up after COVID.
Really?
Everyone went straight from TikTok to espresso martinis. So
I was going to say, I used to live 1 block away. We probably go to the same laundromat.
I feel like you're doxing me because everyone knew your old address.
No, that was a different address. Well, and also it's Astoria, so good luck finding all the addresses here. Is like
you have to have a degree in calculus to figure out the addresses here.
Yeah, every 3 streets have the same address.
Yeah,
and so then it's getting packages. I remember. I love this neighborhood, by the way.
It's the best. I love it so much.
My favorite neighborhood because now I live in Bed-Stuy, and there's 1 grocery store and 1 Popeyes. If I didn't have both of those, I would go crazy. And then for like literally 8 blocks in every direction.
Have you had from Popeyes the new like chicken pizza?
What?
The what is it called? The chicken or whatever.
I haven't even heard of that. That sounds like an abomination.
I walked by it the other day and I was like I was like walking with my husband and I was on an important phone call and I saw the sign for it.
Were you sober?
Oh, dead sober, middle of the day. We were like running an errand and like a work call came in and I was like,
go get it.
Like, if you're listening, I'm like pointing aggressively at an imaginary sign of the pizza chicken. I don't know. It's kind of like when they did the double down where they replaced the bread with chickens. It's like they replaced the chicken. Oh wait, maybe it's KFC, maybe it's not Popeyes.
Oh, okay, because I know Popeyes.
Okay,
and I was like, that sounds too.
I can't remember if it's a KFC or
it has to be KFC.
Well, it's on Steinway. KFC or Popeyes.
I don't remember Popeyes being here, but when I used to live here,
there's a Wingstop too.
Yeah, I moved in right before the pandemic hit, and they locked everything down. And that weekend, when they locked everything down, Steinway was wall-to-wall people partying.
Oh, I bet.
It was insane. So I miss this because there's so many restaurants. I like the Arab district where there's
it's cool.
40 hookah bars. I miss like every single restaurant here, all the like all the bars that I never went to, but the food amazing. Now I got none of that. But yeah, I used to live right over by the beer bodega.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. They have the cheapest candy.
Really?
Yeah.
Is Blackie the cat still alive?
I have not seen a cat there.
Oh no.
Rough.
I hope he did
No.
So yeah, back
So
to
the cat's name was Blackie the cat?
Yeah, it was Blackie.
Okay.
And they had a little tip jar for the cat. So he had to get surgery. And I would always give him
he
like
managed
coins.
the bodega, I'm sure.
But yeah, this neighborhood's so nice. If you are planning on moving to New York, hit up Astoria.
Truly.
It's the most like it's for the price, and I'm just gonna be blunt, there's not a lot of homeless people around here. You have the train that goes right into Manhattan. It's super, it feels like it's a party, but also it's like quiet down the street. So it's really, I'm going to move back here. Once Mike and Diego die, I'm going to move back to Astoria. But
You know who's going to kill them? Chuck.
Chuck
seems like he has a murderous streak in him.
I found out he's 17 years old.
That's crazy.
A 17-year-old cat, and he's still jumping up and down. And so I think I'm keeping him alive.
Skinwalker.
But the certifications.
Okay. Yes.
Did you go to college for
No, I did not. I went to art school, which
All right.
is crazy. And then I started.
Oh yeah, we should start drinking first.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Sorry,
We'll start.
What do you have here for me? Because my favorite drinks are. I started drinking at 22 with PBR, and I'm like, I like PBR, and then I've moved up in my palate to Tecate.
Tecate's great.
I love Tecate and PBR, and then I was telling you were asking me what some of my favorite drinks are. It's all over the place.
Okay.
If you do you need to like
We're
talk
gonna do
while
white
you
red.
pour?
No, I can.
What is this? This is
Okay.
This is wine. You're telling me.
We're doing wine. So I picked two really random things that I like had laying around. And neither of them I've had before.
Okay, so
we're trying them for the first time together.
this is like the energy drink corner of a Little Time podcast.
This is like the
but
energy drink corner.
This is wine tasting corner. So every time I drink wine, I'm not a wine guy. I don't hate it, but it reminds me of I have like a distinct memory of Easter. Because when we were dyeing the eggs, there was like a vinegar dye.
Yeah.
That you use, and so that's just what I always smell that, and it always sends me back to the day where I was dyeing Easter eggs, and then we would make egg sandwiches the next day. So what are we grabbing? The white one?
We're gonna try the white first. So
And I know that the stem is so you don't heat up the glass.
Yes,
And you're
absolutely.
supposed to swirl it and oxygenate it.
Yeah, good job. Yes, absolutely. And then when you sip it, if you're trying to oxygenate it in your mouth, you basically draw through your teeth. And I always use this example, and people who are like cork dorks hate this.
Oh, you already got slurs?
We got
Wine slurs? The cork dorks. Is that just some bougie?
Like wine snobs. Yeah.
Am I supposed to coat the entire glass?
No, that doesn't matter.
Oh,
I mean, if you like want to look at the color and the legs, you like can, but
this looks like mildly hydrated pee.
yeah.
So where I'm at right now, I've been chugging a lot of water in anticipation. So
have you ever smoked out of a bong in your life, or
Never.
know what that sounds like?
absolutely no. I used to smoke a ton.
Yeah.
I don't anymore.
So if you know what that sounds like, that's like kind of the noise you want to make with your mouth a little bit. So
that's more high pitch. So I'm gonna.
well, it's I don't know. I'm a little bit gap toothed, so maybe mine's. Yeah, there you go. And then some people like swish it around their mouth. I don't know.
That's nice.
People get really performative with it, but
Oh, you're
I
getting.
think your phone's ringing. Or is that?
That's your phone. I don't.
Oh, that's
why
my
would-
husband's laptop that's ringing.
Yeah, that's not a bad wine. It's very. Let me see if I could detect a slight vinegar taste.
Okay.
Is that I might be wrong, but very very subtle.
Yeah, it's really mild. So this is a very inexpensive wine. I picked it up
Like $2 chuck.
recently. No, it was like it's like a $13 chuck.
That's cheap.
You
For
should
a bottle?
not. You should not be drinking wine.
I don't.
That.
So that's the first tip.
and I typically tell people unless you want a hangover, don't even drink anything under $20 a bottle in the store.
Why would people get hangovers from cheap wine?
Because a lot
Sugar?
of time, because sugar. People will add sugar as like a stabilizing agent, and
Why not? Look, I'm already drunk. I'm already slurring my slurs after 2 sips.
cork dorks.
Slurring my words. Why is wine? What was I about to ask? I'm already blacking out. This is too much. What did you just say?
Oh, like sugar additives will stabilize wine a little bit.
I thought wine was super stable. That's why you like want everyone's going for ancient wines. Am I drinking this too fast?
No, you can drink it however you want.
What do you give this? Do you rate on a 5-star?
So I mean, if we're gonna be like,
what is the
100? So a lot of the wine ratings go by 100-point scales.
Oh.
And so if you're like following wine ratings, like you would be like, okay, James Suckling, for instance, he's a very, very famous one, or like Robert Parker is another one that's rates wines as very famous. And they rate things like you don't want to drink anything that gets below a 90 point.
Mm-hmm. What's the lowest wine point you like?
Okay, so the company I used to work for had a wine that was rated like 89 or 88 one year, and I was like, honestly, I don't think this is that bad.
That's low, an 89 out of 100.
Yeah, you don't get like a 30.
I was thinking I want to try a 20 out of 100 wine that people are like, don't even drink it. It tastes like battery acid. And
if a company got like a 20 out of 100,
they would go bankrupt?
Well, they probably would not be turning it in for ratings, and they'd probably try and like cover it up. So like... Yeah, if your wine gets like an 89, it usually gets a 91. You're changing your marketing that year to avoid that coming out.
Oh, was I supposed to spit?
Oh, I put it there only if you want it.
No, I'm not gonna.
I know.
I think spitting is gross. I'm a swallower.
If I'm at a wine show and I'm trying like 50 wines in a day, I mean, you have to spit or you're gonna be on the floor. So
isn't that the point of wine?
There's a lot of points to wine.
That's the thing. It's
91 to be specific. No, just kidding.
Is that one? Is that what that?
No, I was jokingly rating that a 91.
I give it. The more I had, the less I liked it.
Okay.
I don't know why the flavor changed over time.
Maybe it opened up.
Is that I can taste it more?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm like. I like a beer because when I drink beer, it's like, oh, it's the same thing I'm used to. It's normal. It's
consistent. All right, I'm gonna try this red because I don't know. And
what are these? Are they the same?
No, this is something from the Douro Valley.
No idea where that is.
I believe it's Portugal.
Do you prefer white or red? Is there like is white wine a day drinking wine and red more of a I'm eating steak right now?
Oh, that's nice. It's easy drinking.
These are both very smooth and easy, and I don't like it for that.
You don't like it.
I want something.
You're like, I want a personality.
I want it to attack my senses.
Okay.
Because
we got some old Bordeaux's we can open up, but it might cause a divorce if I do.
Oh, really? It's super expensive?
Yeah.
What's the most? Can you disclose what's the most expensive wine you have?
I can tell you the most expensive empty bottles we have are the two that are on my fireplace right now. Those are the two bottles that my husband bought the day he became a French citizen.
Wow.
Yeah, and they're like first growths, meaning the Napoleon III said in 1855, "These are the best."
So how much does each one of those bottles go for?
I mean, hundreds of dollars. In France, so if you're listening at home, it's a Chateau Margaux and a Haut-Brion, 1995, I think, and the other one's some 80 something. So I mean, those would be really, really expensive in the United States because wine is significantly more expensive in the United States than abroad because of the
import.
Well,
import taxes.
If we're getting into the weeds here, if we're getting into my expertise here of the business of wine.
I hate all the import taxes we're paying. They tax camcorders more or less than like just a normal DSLR.
Really?
That's why DSLRs can't record over 30 minutes because if you record a camera records longer than 30 minutes, it technically becomes a camcorder. Uh-huh. And so camcorders get taxed at a higher rate.
That's crazy.
And so they just put an artificial limit on them. It's why we can't get those little Japanese those little Japanese trucks that fit like 1.5 people with a little bed because of import taxes.
Yeah.
It costs more to like import one of those little trucks than it does to
like make it.
Just to buy it. Yeah, they're like $4,000 and then like $6,000 to import.
So other than Chinese wine does stay pretty stable on what the import tax is.
Chinese wine.
Yeah, it's really good. I was just in Germany at like the world's largest wine show, and I went around the different wines being represented at the Chinese pavilion, and they are awesome. Wish we could get them in America because they're really good. but it's not all tax. So in the United States, because we had a prohibition in this country, there's something called the 3-tier system. So alcohol has to go through an importer and then a separate distributor, which is usually state by state, and then a retailer before it can hit the end consumer. And each one of those parties are taking 20 to 30%. Then on top of that, you have a federal tax, a state tax, and in New York City, we have a city tax. And if you live in Chicago, you also have a county tax. It's crazy.
That's like in Utah, we have the state owns the liquor stores. There's no private liquor in Utah. So
is it a controlled state?
It's a controlled state.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know.
So everyone would complain because it's like, oh, it's Sunday. I can't buy anything because the Mormon church has a bunch of control. But that's what they theorize. But it's just like, no, they don't want to give up all the money. They have a monopoly on the liquor store.
Well, so Pennsylvania is also a control state, and it's not Mormon. There's a lot of them throughout the country, but
its initial reasons for why they did that might be something that's like, why would you ever give up that money to private businesses once you have it? And then it's like, you got to come to the one shop. So, and everyone's like, oh, it's Sunday. I want to buy alcohol. It's like, you had all week. Be a better drunk.
Aren't there a lot of crazy... Well, also in Minnesota, when I was living there, you couldn't buy it on Sunday. That only happened, I think, right before COVID. In Minnesota, you couldn't buy on Sunday. So everyone in Minneapolis would drive to Wisconsin if you needed to buy alcohol on Sunday. Aren't there a lot of crazy alcohol laws, though, in Utah? Like, they have those machines that dictate exactly what 1.5 ounces are so that you're not getting over poured, and then you have to buy food and like all is. And I know, like, from the distributor and supplier side, there is a lot of crazy taxes on like how you can market alcohol in that state. They're way more strict than other markets.
I don't know what it was.
So if anything's
changed recently, but it used to be. They used to have like a thing called the Zion curtain, like that. Restaurants had to, like, for the bar area, had to put up like an extra piece of glass or like cover it up so like kids couldn't see the bar. Used to, when I was a kid, this is back in like before 2010. They used to have private memberships. So to get membership into their club, because bars weren't allowed, everything was a private club. You'd have to pay like a $5 cover fee to get membership for the night for the club, so that you could go and drink at the members club. But that's all changed since now. I don't know if there's Zion curtain, but there's there's weird laws like
Zion curtain is wild. That's.
What if a kid sees someone having a drink and getting drunk, being a sod?
So growing up Mormon. Just in your household, was alcohol just like the biggest no-no?
It wasn't even like a no-no because it didn't exist.
Oh, it wasn't even like demonized. It was just like
it was demonized.
Oh, okay.
my dad kind of left the church like a little bit around the time when I did, and I remember my dad would drink 1 or 2 beers. And my mom, who was still very practicing religion, was like, "Your father's an alcoholic," and I'm like, I've been at parties. I know what like alcoholism is. I know like people who have a real problem. 2 beer, and he's just like me, where he's like, he gets 2 and he's like, oh, he's just a super lightweight. I'm like, he's not an alcoholic. He just, oh my gosh, he just can't. I feel like to be a lightweight alcoholic would be an insane thing.
I mean, you'd be a really rich alcoholic because
it'd be really
it wouldn't
nice.
take you a lot of money
be like, oh,
get drunk.
Here's my 2 beers a day, and I'm gonna crash my car. So.
That's wild to call someone an alcoholic for having 2 beers.
Yeah, but they separated now. Now he still when I go visit him down in Florida with his new wife, he still drinks. I've only seen him drink 1 or 2 beers, but yeah. So I didn't really grow up around it other than like at parties. I would go to parties and not drink as a teenager. I didn't have my first beer until I was 22.
Wow.
It was a PBR, and I was like, this is pretty good.
The first time I had a PBR, I thought it tasted like meat.
What?
I don't know why. I remember I was at my older sister's house, and I don't know how old I was, probably like 17 or 18. And
do you recommend mixing wines like this?
I mean, you can do whatever you want.
I don't like that. That's a bad taste. Combining red and white?
Yeah, no, it's not great.
So you were...
Especially not those two. That would be a weird combo.
So you were...
Oh, no, yeah. The first time I had PBR, I thought it tasted like meat. I was like, why does this taste like a Slim Jim in a weird way? And
that pairs
maybe
well.
that's why you liked it.
I love Slim Jims.
You were like,
PBR and Slim Jims. When was the first time you had your drink? Your first drink, I mean.
I was a teenager. I was at like a party And it was like a Christmas party that it was either like a family friend or like one of my sister's like friends' parents threw. My sister's 7 years older than me, so like
when you say teenager, 14,
yeah,
17?
like probably like 14 or 15.
And the family was like, yeah, you can have a little bit.
So legally in the state of Missouri, if you're in a house, it doesn't matter. So I'm not,
I'm very libertarian. Whatever happens in your house, that's
and,
up to you.
My parents are much older. When they had me, like my dad was 54 when I was born, and my mom was like 43. And so they're like from the South, and they were like, we don't care.
Did you see that video this St. Patrick's Day of the little British kid drinking like a pint of Guinness?
I think you sent that to me. Yes.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
I don't. As a beverage alcohol professional, I don't condone underage drinking.
What about Anheuser-Busch family? Did you know about their tradition?
No, what's their tradition?
When they have the people who own I think it's just the Bush family. When they have a baby, they take an eyedropper. Mm-hmm. And right after the newborn baby is like in the mother's arms, mm-hmm. they take the eyedropper and they drop a few drops of beer into the baby's mouth. So it's the first thing that they ever taste.
It's kind of funny. That's like a funny lore. I mean, like you shouldn't give babies alcohol because like their brains are developing, but like, I mean, what an interesting lore. But
I mean, one or two drops. I'm saying 1 or 2 drops of alcohol for a baby, a beer, a light alcohol beer,
baby beer, if you will. Just put it in a thimble.
But you can't even professionally condone that.
I can't professionally condone that, no. As someone who works in the United States of America as an alcohol salesperson, I would like to say 21 is the only good drinking age. Don't follow my example.
I think you should wait till you're 25.
I don't.
No?
I think 21. I think it should be like Europe and it should be 18. But but whatever. That's my personal opinion. But what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. My first drink ever, though, was so silly because it was a peppermint schnapps shot with Hershey syrup on the bottom. And everyone was doing one. And my sister was like, just do one, like whatever, like you're a teenager. And I remember I couldn't do a shot. And so I just sipped it like a tiny little drink over the course of like an hour.
You couldn't do a shot?
Yeah, because it didn't taste good to me. I was like a teenager and it was my first sip of alcohol. Alcohol doesn't taste good to you the first time you have it, especially if you have the taste buds of a teenager, because then you want sweet stuff. That's why teenagers are always drinking like sweet stuff.
I've never had the sweet tooth, even as a kid. I'm not a candy, so
I have one as an adult. It's terrible.
This might explain my weird, because when I started drinking, I started with PBRs, and then I had no guide, whatever. So I would go to parties, and they're like, "Yeah, bring alcohol," and I would just bring PBR, or if they wanted liquor, I would bring, bring stuff to make White Russians. So I'd bring, and I remember going to this Halloween party and bringing a giant handle of vodka. And how do you make a White Russian again? It's been for years, almost a decade.
It's like Kahlua milk, cream.
Kahlua and vodka.
Yeah.
And I just was making White Russians and making it for everyone. They're like, why do you? I'm like, I just saw The Big Lebowski. That's that's the only mix. I'm barely out of being Mormon. That's all I know.
I had a friend in Minneapolis that was like their go-to drink for a while. And that should never be your go-to drink at a bar.
Why not?
Because
too hard to make?
Well, a lot of bars don't have like milk behind the bar.
Mine always did. My home bar was the Republican.
But also, you guys put milk in like Coca-Cola in Utah. So like,
I've never heard of that.
Really? It's like all over TikTok. Yeah, they put like coffee creamer and stuff at like soda bars.
The soda bar fad is like blown up since I left. Okay. There weren't soda bars when I was there. Okay. So in the past 5 years, the whole soda bar, like the drive-through. For anyone who doesn't know, Utah has. They're almost like, out in Seattle, they have the coffee shops with bikini baristas.
Yeah.
They're like just specifically, it's a coffee shop that you drive through and all the women, I don't know why it's only in like the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
Maybe they're.
I've seen this on TikTok, but I've not spent a ton of time in the Pacific.
So it's just like a weird regional thing. But in Utah, it's soda. So they have just all this, almost like the customize your own diet, you customize your own Coke machine, but just every soda you can make extra syrup. And they do like energy drinks, custom energy drinks. They do all as much different ratios. It's insane. And that people like soda so much. I still have a soda addiction.
I bet Sonic does well there as a business model because Sonic is kind of that way.
I don't know.
Have you ever been to a Sonic?
I've been to a Sonic. There's a bunch of Sonics, but I've never seen them packed. Okay. We would just get ice cream there.
I'm from the Midwest, and that was a very Midwest thing, was going to Sonic and getting all the different slushy flavors and things.
I remember driving through Wyoming and seeing they had drive-through like not bars, but like liquor stores.
They do in South Dakota too. I used to work there when I worked for Fireball, and I would see them. It was wild.
That's insane because they give you like a straw and they put like a big styrofoam cup full of your like mixed drink and they're like, here you go in the drive-through window.
That's crazy.
Which is like, how is that legal? Did they give you a paper bag
so
too?
in Missouri, there was a place that would do to-go cocktails that were frozen, and they would put the little paper on top of the straw, and that considered it a closed container.
Nice.
Yeah. Can we pause really quickly? I need to blow my nose.
Go blow your,
Sorry.
yeah. And we're back.
Intermission over.
You just made a Manhattan.
I did.
Now I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Which race do you think gets the drunkest out of every race,
gosh.
and why is it Latino construction workers on a Friday afternoon?
I don't know. I think that white people drink the most, but I think a lot of them don't show it.
You think their genetics hold it? Like they're because I've always said it is Latinos get the drunkest. When they're pumping music at 4 a.m. and your neighbors. Did you live near any like?
Yeah, I lived in West Harlem.
Oh, okay. So you see, they late at night. But
I lived in like an eternal fiesta. I used to say because it was just constant like reggaeton.
Manhattan. I don't. It does taste like medicine to me, which I like, but I don't know.
Okay, it's a little medicinal for you.
A little bit, yeah. Like I don't know. I like the wines more than that.
Okay.
What does that tell you?
No, that's cool. That's good to know.
I don't think I'm a mixed drink person.
Okay, that's fair. A lot of people aren't.
I think it's wasted on my palate.
Well, you said you like Dr. Pepper, and Dr. Pepper is a little bit medicinal, so that's why I went for the Manhattan.
All right.
Yeah.
Is Dr. Pepper a medicinal flavor?
I think so. It's like kind of cherry, but kind of medicinal.
Interesting.
So if you're looking in the future to repeat the wines that you had today that you liked, I would say, so this one's a white Bordeaux. So the grapes on this are Sauvignon Blanc and Semillon. So look for Sauv Blanc or a Semillon Sauv Blanc.
See, that's the problem
mix.
with wine is I have to memorize all these phrases when I wish I could just...
Sauvignon Blanc is pretty common.
I'm never going to
I do not know the grape breakdown on this one. I know it's from the Douro Valley in Portugal. Portuguese wines and Spanish wines are usually good bets because they are hot weather wines.
Hot weather wines.
Yeah.
See, there's so many
The climate
rules.
is considered hot for there.
Oh, okay.
Not like super. I mean, it's not like California where it gets like crazy, but it's not catching on fire. But it's nice because like Spanish wines especially can be really high volume. Like they'll make a ton of it. And so the price is not super high. So you can get a really good quality for a lower price when it comes to both Portuguese and Spanish wines.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's, I guess, if you're into wine, that's, I think anything American is better than anything French.
I'm going to beg to differ on that one when it comes to wine.
Would you defend French wines? They get to, they get to be pompous and they've earned that right.
Yes.
Is it just, why can't a French guy come over here and like, is it the soil? Is it the ground? Is it there?
It's the soil. It's the climate. Yeah.
Okay, that's just it. There's nowhere else in the world, not in Asia, not in the Philippines or Australia.
I mean, okay, if we're going to make the argument, if we're like, okay, Pinot Noir Burgundy, the closest you can get in the New World is in, I think, Washington State or Oregon, people say is the most similar. Okay, if we're going to, split hairs about it. But microclimates are so specific. Like we were just talking about Rioja, for instance. I went there for a wine tour one time. Because when I used to work for an importer, I would get invited on buyer's trips that the government would put on, which were awesome.
The French government?
No, so I worked for an American company, an importer, and so I go on buyer's trips. So I got paid by the Italian government to be there once to do a wine tour, and then also the Spanish government for the Rioja region.
Just to sell alcohol to Americans?
No, to educate them on the U.S. market, educate them on how to sell in the U.S., and then
okay, so they're like
create potential like relationships.
Americans are dumb. They just want to get drunk and party. They want stuff that tastes sweet.
No, I didn't say that, but we have one of the most complicated legal systems in the world to sell alcohol in the United States. The 3-tier system, as I mentioned recently.
50 different states, 50 different rules.
Yeah, totally. You have to think of it like 50 different countries. And so and also because we had a prohibition in this country, there's just like a lot of legal red tape to get here. Like for instance, they tax sparkling wine higher. Like they're like doing a bubble tax in America,
Really?
believe it or not. It's kind of like your 30 minutes of film thing.
What?
Yeah. So
Sparkling wine is that? Huh. Mm-hmm. That's why it's more for like weddings and
celebrations.
It's more expensive.
Yeah.
I asked some of the listeners for questions.
Okay.
For you. I don't know if you know any beer questions.
I'm probably not the best, but
all right. But here's a good wine question. Why does wine in Italy never give you hangovers? Is that true? That's like people saying like the spaghetti in Italy doesn't make you feel bloated.
I don't know about that. I mean,
that's what
the grain is different, but so
from what I've heard, my conspiracy theory is you're on vacation, so you're not stressed. So you're just you're sleeping in, you're not going to work, so you just have more time to like digest and not worry about it. If it's all mental, then your body works better when your mental works better, and it's like reciprocal.
There's probably a bit of that, but also I've never gotten a hangover from super expensive wine in the United States either.
Oh, okay. So you think the Italian wines are just...
So I think old world wines give you less of a hangover. That is my personal opinion, because there are less additives. They've been doing it longer. They know what they're doing. And I think old world wines, like if you're going for Italy, Spain, Germany, Portugal, France, you're going to have a better time than when you're drinking wines from California. That's my personal opinion. And I'm sure there's going to be at least one cork dork in your comment section that's like, I hate this girl, but
they don't cut their wine with turpentine anymore.
They don't cut their wine with turpentine anymore.
That was like a controversy, right? In like the 70s.
Oh, I know nothing about it. I thought you were making a joke.
No, there's like a season 1 Simpsons episode about it where Bart gets adopted by two like French criminals, and then they're cutting the wine with like chemicals and stuff. It was like a real big news scandal.
I don't know about that, but there's a big scandal in my hometown of Kansas City, Missouri. Because
with wine?
No, with spirits, because they were trying to import vodka and saying that it was cleaning solution to avoid taxes. Yeah.
Oh, here's a vodka question. Are vodka tastings actually a thing or just something for alcoholics?
You can have a tasting for anything. Yeah.
No, what? He's asking, so there's like this, do vodkas taste different?
Yeah.
Really?
Totally.
I can't tell.
Oh, I can. 100%.
You can?
Oh, yeah. And you can also tell based on...
I think you're lying, but I trust you.
Okay. we just pulled 2 vodkas off of my shelf to a blind, but...
I would not be able to tell.
Okay.
It's every single vodka I've ever had tastes exactly the same as another one.
Yeah.
Maybe some of them are a little harsher.
Well, yeah, that's a different taste. If something's harsher, that is the taste that is harsher.
Maybe I want the harsh. Maybe I don't want it filtered. Maybe I want straight vodka. Can I buy unfiltered vodka?
No, because it would make you go blind. Because that's like moonshine.
Ooh.
Yeah. Have you ever had like illegal moonshine?
I haven't had illegal moonshine. There was some moonshine thing that comes in like a jar.
Oh, like Old Smoky.
Maybe, and it like had a bunch of fruit in it. And I remember drinking like a whole bottle and like throwing up on my friends. At my friend's house.
That'll happen.
So, and I was like, I never want to try that again.
So I believe that vodka tastes different based on what it's distilled from. Like I personally have noticed that I like the taste of like wheat vodka and like potato vodka more than like a Ciroc, like a grape vodka tastes like viscous to me. Like it's a mouthfeel thing. I don't like it.
Can you make vodka from anything?
Pretty much anything with like sugar. Yeah.
Interesting. Do you know anything about barley wine?
No.
Okay, my buddy was saying that this is one of my old friends who is like he's like a beer brewer, one of my old roommates, and he was like, ask her about barley wine, and I was like, what do you mean? And I'm like, this was like probably a couple weeks or a month when I was living with him. He says he introduced me to Uinta anniversary barley wine. And he goes, barley wine is a weird beer style that is just about the highest alcohol you can get, and it's a novelty beer that's like 10% alcohol and like a pretty big bottle that was like $3. And he goes, the novelty of the style was lost on you. You just drank it for the value, casually. And I remember getting smashed off of barley wine.
Interesting.
Do you know anything about like I heard
Is it like mead? Because mead's kind of a weird one where it's considered kind of like...
It wasn't sweet.
I mean, it's like...
It was like dark, I don't remember.
Honey wine, but also beer. I don't know. That one's a weird one.
I'm told Utah has a really good breweries, like a bunch of microbreweries, because the alcohol levels are lower.
Okay.
So all the nerds there get to focus more on taste. Whereas outside of Utah, they have to like cater to everyone to like push higher. Like the alcohol pushes into how the taste is. I don't know if that's...
alcohol content's a tricky one because it is going to affect the taste. But also if you have something that tastes really good...
You can up the alcohol?
Like, I've had scotches before or like overproofed rums or overproofed gins that have tasted not like they're overproofed because they're just smooth and really well made.
Overproofed?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Like instead of being the typical 40% ABV, they're like 47% ABV.
So is it like what's listed on the bottle and it's like a little stronger or?
Yeah. It's just as strong, like a higher alcohol
like
content by volume.
Overclocked.
Yeah.
Or
Navy strength is another term for it.
Do you have an opinion on like all the White Claw? What are those called? What are White Claws?
Yeah.
What is
RTD is the legal, well, I don't know if it's a legal term, but it's like the term that we use in the biz.
What does that stand for?
Ready to drink.
Is that what is it like? It's not a beer. It's not a wine.
So it is. It's a gluten-free sugar brew or sugar beer is the alcohol in it.
So it is a beer.
Yeah, technically, but it is gluten-free.
Gluten-free.
Yeah. So I think White Claw is a genius product, and it's. So did you know it's made by the same people who make Mike's Hard?
No.
So yeah, and so it is a Mark Anthony is the name of the company, and it came. I was privy to it a little early because I happened to be dating when I lived in Minneapolis, like the Minnesota state manager for Mark Anthony brand. So when it came out, he brought a sample over, and I was like, "Oh, this is heavenly. This is fantastic." Yeah, like truly, it was before I moved to New York, so it had to have been like 2016 or 2017, and it was like the first year it came out. It was like that January or something. And he was like, "This is the new thing," and they like think it's going to be big, and then it's crazy huge.
I'm over it now.
I mean,
I had my summer of fun. And I'm like,
yeah,
I don't need
I've
them
had
anymore.
a couple summers of fun of White Claw, but
I went back to beer.
I like a ready to drink cocktail though, and I think it's fun and easy. I'm more, if I'm going to pick one of the mainstream ones, I like the one High Noon, the one that Dave Portnoy pushes because it's vodka, it's not sugar brew.
You like his brand?
Unfortunately, I don't know if I like him, but
he makes a good product.
He's a little corny, but he does make a good product, and it's vodka based instead of being like sugar brew based. So it just has a different flavor to it. It's a little less carbonated.
All right,
too.
I'll have to try that out. I'm gonna be real with you. I thought it'd be a lot more drunk by now.
I mean, do you want me to pour you some more wine?
No, I'm like wine. It's kind of how fast do you drink wine? Would you say am I drinking fast? I don't know what the podcast speed of drinking wine is.
I don't know the podcast speed. This is my first podcast.
Is this is like drinking while eating dinner? Like do some people? Is everyone different? I guess with every.
I think everyone's different. I drink a little bit slower than the average person. So you do you.
What's
this is a safe space.
How often do you get blackout?
How often do I get blackout?
As a professional in the industry.
Professional in the industry? Not very often.
Like once
if you
a year?
asked me that question 10 years ago, I think it'd be a little different.
Can I ask you what kind of drunk you are?
Yeah, totally.
Are you a party animal or you get Latino man sad?
No, I don't get Latino man sad. No, I am such an extrovert and I'm so ADHD. So I just talk super fast and get excited, and people probably think I'm on drugs because I'm like just very
become life of the party.
I totally become life of the party. And then I do the same thing that everyone does when they get drunk. I repeat myself a bunch. Like if I think something's funny, I'm going to like run that bit into the ground.
So when you're at like, would you go to like alcohol conventions, or do you set up like booths and just have like tastings and like sell like, hey, this is what we're selling? Is everyone just sauce there?
It depends on the show. So there's bar shows and then there's like wine shows, and they have different vibes.
And the wines, everyone like, I can't be drunk at a wine show.
No, I mean, people do eventually, like around 5 p.m. people start swallowing instead of spitting.
Okay.
And also no matter what, even if you're spitting like like I was a judge for a wine competition one time in Las Vegas.
It gets absorbed?
It does. It gets absorbed like through your gums if you're trying like 40 in a row in an hour.
It seems like a Mormon loophole. I didn't drink any of it.
Yeah.
I was just swishing it around. Have you heard of
there are people who are alcoholics who are Psalms who want to keep their jobs, and so they just spit for the rest of their lives.
They're Psalms?
Psalms, like sommeliers.
Somalians.
Sommeliers.
I didn't know
that's what you called me at the beginning of the podcast. That's the certification for wine.
What do you say? Some smalls. I was like Somalians.
Psalms. No.
Somalians like
not
Sims or
not Somalians like Somalia. No.
Sommelier. A Somalian sommelier would be very fun.
Yeah.
The
paying in simoleons, the Sims money.
Have you heard about how teenagers are soaking tampons in vodka?
That's been a rumor since I feel like both of us have been teenagers.
And they're starting to do it with apparently Zin packets too, where they're boofing Zin packets.
It sounds horrible.
I'm saying
sounds like the worst thing ever.
It's a good way to overdose on alcohol because you can't regulate. You can't throw up if you do that. Don't do it. But
oh God, no, don't
unless
do that.
If you're an adult and you're like doing research stuff.
I mean, still don't. I feel like every high school had that story where there was like the crazy girl at your high school. You were like, yeah, Jessica, I heard that she soaks her tampons in vodka. Like every single high school had that person in that rumor. I've never heard of anyone do. Like I've never heard of any of my crazy party friends being like, you know what, I tried once.
Never.
No, I mean, I've never done it. I don't know about you, but
someone should try it and get back to me.
Please don't.
I mean, be careful.
I can't condone this.
I don't. Do you have a favorite drink? I should ask. Just
no.
If you go to a bar, it's like this never fails.
So I think that everyone should have a drink of choice for
like a mixed.
Yeah, I think, and whether it's beer or wine or a mixed drink.
Because here's my favorite. My favorite beer is Tecate.
Great.
My favorite just liquor is Jägermeister.
Okay.
If my favorite wine is just wine. I don't have
it sounds like it's White Bordeaux and Douro Valley Red now.
The problem is I think I hate wine, but every time someone shows me a wine, I'm like, I like that. So I think I hate the idea of wine.
That's very fair. The idea of wine is very
Can I pour
hateable.
more?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, help yourself.
I like the how much do you know?
I have no idea how much that costs. That was a sample left over.
How many
from
samples
something.
do you get?
I mean, look at my wine racks.
Do you ever pay for alcohol?
Seldom.
that must be
I mean,
nice.
in a bar, yes, I do, but very seldom for the house. I guess I bought both of those. I usually have to buy vermouth. That doesn't usually come from shows or anything.
So at these conventions near the end.
Oh, so hold on. Let's go back to drink of choice because I think everyone should have a drink of choice. So if I'm in a nice cocktail bar, I would say or like a nice restaurant, it's going to be a Manhattan a Manhattan or an Aviation.
Yeah, you like the Manhattan.
Yeah, an Aviation's my favorite gin cocktail. If I'm at a dive bar, I'm going to do a gin soda or a White Claw.
What is an Aviation?
So an Aviation is creme de valette, lemon juice, maraschino liqueur, and it's garnished with the same cherry that you have in the bottom of your glass.
See, it's all over my head. I don't know what it is.
It's like a sour floral gin drink, and it's lovely.
How do you be a bartender knowing that are you just on your phone when someone orders a weird drink and like, how do I make that?
Totally.
I remember someone recommending me a Tom Collins. It's a variation of a Manhattan.
I don't
that?
know if I would call it a variation of a Manhattan.
Oh, maybe I'm misremembering.
A Collins is like with egg white and soda water, I think.
I do like egg whites in my.
That's probably what it is.
My mixed drinks. I remember there was some. It's probably just that. It was probably like a Manhattan with egg whites and stuff. It's all coming back to me.
I don't think it was Manhattan. I'm gonna Google just to make sure, but I do not. The Tom Collins, I believe, is egg white soda water, simple syrup. Because you can do. Yeah. Okay. I'm correct in this. I was like,
I'll defer to you.
I'm gonna gaslight myself here. No, it's gin, lemon juice, sugar, carbonated water, and then sometimes people do put egg whites in it.
How often do you day drink?
How often do I day drink?
Do you drink like a little glass of wine while at lunch?
No, not typically at lunch.
How often do you drink during a week? This is the most I've drunk in a week. I had like 3 beers 2 days ago.
He's coming through the other side.
And then I had 2 beers last 2 days. So I'm like at 5 beers this week, and I'm like, oh, I'm dying.
I probably drink 3 times a week on average. So like I went to a happy hour earlier this week. And
Do
then
you get to write that off in your taxes?
no.
I have to.
Well, when I was working for like a brand, I used to be able to expense stuff. Like when I worked for Fireball whiskey, if I was drinking Fireball somewhere, I could expense it.
Nice.
Yeah. But no, I don't. I can't expense any alcohol at the moment unless I'm like at a business meeting. But
We're having a business meeting right now.
yeah, fair enough.
We're explaining. I'm like, I might get into
Okay.
wine.
If I pay taxes on TikTok this year, then I'm going to expense that bottle. There we go. But yeah, I think you should have a go-to drink. I think everyone should. I'm passionate about this subject.
Really?
And
Do you think everyone should drink?
I don't think everyone should drink. I think some people absolutely should not drink, but I think everyone should have a go-to drink in a bar, because I do have friends that will show up to the bar and they don't drink very often, and they're like, I don't know what to get. And I'm like, it's a dive bar. You should have a dive bar go-to.
Yeah, even though I'm not a drinker.
You have a go-to drink.
I still have like, hey, I know what I like. Because I was at a bar and I'm like, do you have Tecate? They're like, no. But the bartender recommended something else. I'm like, sure, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not a baby. I'll drink whatever you put in front of me. Yeah, I hate day drinking though, because the day drinking is fun until you walk outside and then the sun smacks you in the face and you're like,
hissing at the sun like a supervillain.
Why does that hurt you? Why does that hurt your soul?
It's the worst. It happened to me on St. Patrick's Day. I went out for St. Patrick's Day last week.
Did
and
you get sloshed?
I wasn't I was more overserved than usual, but I wasn't like sloshed.
You were overserved. You're putting the blame on the bartender. It's not my fault.
In all fairness, I was friends with the bartender. He did pour me a shot, which I wouldn't usually do. But yeah, when you leave, you are like looking at the sun.
I got a free shot this week.
Oh yeah?
I showed the bartender my feet pics.
Really?
He heard me and this lady talking about my feet, how hairless my feet are.
Oh my gosh.
And he's like, you have no hair. So I showed him a picture of my feet with all my monkey toes spread out.
I feel like you got entrapped into that.
I don't care.
But you did get a shot for it.
I got a shot and he got whatever sick fetish he got.
whatever weird thing he's into.
So, do you have you heard about that Japanese hangover like preventative thing?
No.
They have like a secret juice that they drink.
I think that milk thistle is the best hangover remedy ever.
Milk thistle.
So I learned about this from Chelsea Handler. Weirdly enough, she was sharing her
known drunk
Chelsea Handler. So she was sharing in an interview once what her hangover cures were, and she said milk thistle. And then I had another friend who was like a wellness person who was like, I do milk thistle also. So I bought some.
What is milk thistle?
So it's an herb for your liver. It's like a liver supplement.
Does it come in like a pill?
Yeah.
And you just take it and
it's cheap. You just buy it on Amazon. It's like $15 for 30 of them.
So you wake up hungover and you just immediately take milk thistle.
You take it before you go to bed.
You take it before you go to bed. Okay,
yeah, you go out drinking, you come home, wash your face, have a milk thistle.
Because mine is usually I chug a giant Gatorade and water before I go to bed.
Yeah.
If I'm just like, I'm gonna die in the morning. But when it comes to being hangover, that's why I think alcohol is one of the like best drugs, because you do have to pay for the experience. Like you get to have like a really good time, and so then when you're feeling terrible after, I don't enjoy feeling terrible.
Most drugs that way? I would imagine the come down from like meth isn't great.
No, I think like when you smoke weed, it's like you don't.
Well, no, weed you don't. But I mean, like a lot of drugs. Like if you did cocaine, wouldn't you have like a hangover the next day?
I don't know about coke.
I don't know either.
Know that it's a hangover, but I mean, like alcohol is like you will like you can vomit and like feel bad, and I think. Like especially, I have like a theory on like ayahuasca, where I'm like ayahuasca is probably mostly just the people throwing up. Yeah, because the clarity you get after like throwing, like being, I'm talking
true.
Like
you've never felt better after.
I'm talking like super hungover, where you feel like you're dying. Mm-hmm. Your body is like I've accepted death, and you're just hungover, and you're just dehydrated, and you're trying to throw up nothing. And I think that's like one of the few weird things. Once you get through that. You normalize into this like peace. Yeah. And it's like no other drug gives you that. Like every other thing is just like, yeah, you got high and then you're not.
I've never thrown up from being hungover, but
You've never thrown up?
From being hungover, no. I have thrown up when I drank before, but very seldom. I can only count the times on one hand.
So preventative.
Like, no, like not on purpose.
No, I'm saying you got drunk and then you threw up and so you weren't as hungover in the morning.
No, I just have a strong stomach. Like I don't really throw up.
I've been like so hungover in the morning where I just threw up everything. and it's just like that's when bile is coming up, and I'm just like.
But I've had like the stomach flu before, obviously, and you do have like a clarity afterwards where you're like, oh my god, I feel so much better.
you feel empty. It gives you a weird clarity.
We're probably really horrifying someone. So there is like your one listener with phobia of vomit who just died in their car for the last 5 minutes. Is that what it's called?
That's what it's called. I know that from an ex who had it.
Oh gosh.
It's a valid one. All right, I'm starting
Does
to
your
feel
shirt say nihilist on it?
Nihilift. It's Diego Lopez's shirt. Buy right now. Go to
It
Nihilift.
says mental health is real.
Go to noviolence.com and buy some Diego Lopez merch.
I like that.
Yeah, mental health isn't real. Just get drunk and go lift weights about everything.
Yeah.
I feel like especially when it comes to mental health, alcohol can be a boon for people. It's like, oh, it's one of those things where people say being lonely is worse for your health than like smoking cigarettes or drinking alcohol ever is.
Yeah.
So if you drink and you go like become like a social character, it's like almost better for you.
I also have noticed too, if you need to be emotional, like during COVID, like my father passed away during COVID. And I remember there was a couple of times where I was like, I'm going to actively use alcohol to like get sad about this because I know I need to like get this emotion out. And I like don't feel like crying, but if I have a couple drinks, I probably will. And so, yeah. So I was like, I am going to use this as like a productive drug right now, which is probably not a thing most people should do, but I was like, I know that if I have 2 cocktails, I'll get in the spot.
That makes sense because if you have like an intent.
Yeah, it was very much an intent.
If you're just drinking because you hate your life, then that's probably a bad thing.
That's different.
But
I was like at home, controlled environment.
Yeah. I remember my favorite times to drink were with my 2 old roommates, Scott and Kevin, and we would just go to the Republican and we would just drink beers and talk and goof off.
The Republican?
That's what it was. The bar. It was an Irish themed bar, an IRA themed bar.
Whoa.
Well, I stand with the IRA. I always have. I literally was the darkest person who went there.
I was gonna say, is my English husband home?
Sorry, I have
Comes
Irish
out and fights
heritage.
you. No, I'm just kidding.
I'll fight him right now. I'm loosey goosey.
An IRA fight. Wow. Or sorry, an IRA bar. Interesting.
I think Ireland. They might be becoming free this.
From the UK or from the Republic of Ireland?
From the UK, like this year.
They're like their own thing. They're doing an Irexit or
Irish exit. Yeah,
a northern,
which is also
Irish
a Star Trek meme.
What?
Commander Data tells Captain Picard in an episode that the Irish Independence Day is like something. It's in the year 2024, so it's like it has to happen this year for Star Trek to predict it.
Is it true that The Simpsons predicted all those things, or are all those memes made up? Because you're like a Simpsons head, and I've watched very seldom.
I think when you have hundreds of hours of TV, it's just a lot of coincidences.
Okay, fair enough.
Because there's like, I don't think it really predicted anything. Because Star Trek predicts, like intentionally predicts things, like touch screens and stuff. So The Simpsons just like, when you make so much, eventually real life is going to be like, that's crazy that happened. Also, there's fake stuff where The Simpsons... something will happen and then the Simpsons will make fun of it and then people are like, Simpsons predicted this. They're like, no, they made the episode after this happened.
Oh, okay.
So
how do you feel about Family Guy? Because they're getting to the point where they've been running for 20 years or something like The Simpsons.
Family Guy is more Simpsons has fallen off. Family Guy is more part of the zeitgeist now.
Yeah, their recent episodes are pretty funny, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I think there's probably more better Family Guy episodes than there are Simpsons episodes.
Ooh, strong take.
Which is, there's only 10 good seasons of Simpsons.
Yeah, there were some really bad seasons of Family Guy. I stopped watching for probably 5 years and then came back around. And it was my show in like middle school, and then I was like, oh, this isn't that funny. Stopped watching it for 10 years and then went back to it and was like, oh, there's some good jokes here.
Do you have a favorite buzzed or drunk activity?
Socializing.
Do you have a lot of people? Is your place the place to like? Do you have a lot of friends who are like, oh, Xander's hosting do you host like dinner party? Is it a dinner party?
Dinner party. I mean, you're looking at my 10-person dining room table, which no one has in New York.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely dinner parties. We cook a lot and like to have people over and do cocktails and things like that.
Nice. You could never have me over.
Well, you can be on the list now.
No, I'm just saying, like, I'm too crass and blue for probably the socialites that you hang out with.
I
which
don't know.
Preface.
We keep it.
I'm like, hey, did you see the new Live Leak video?
We keep it fun around here. I don't know.
It doesn't exist anymore. I'm too opinionated, especially when I get a few wines in me.
I don't know. But also, I hang out with a lot of people from Europe that are like, oh, let's have lively conversation. Let's like debate about something.
Do you think Europeans are more like open to?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm like from the Midwest. I'm like, I don't want to talk about politics at this dinner party. And then the like English and the French are like, nah, let's do it.
Yeah, Midwest is, we don't talk about religion. We don't talk about politics.
Yeah.
Don't mention your aunt's drinking problem.
Yeah, I'm married to a Brit, and I'm like the one trying to like shut down the religion and politics talk. And he's like, no, let's get into it.
Oh, interesting. I did not even know that about Europeans.
Mm-hmm.
I respect them for that.
Yeah, the French are funny because they're like, I don't want to hear about like your kids or your family, but tell me your opinions on politics right now. And what are you striking over this week?
Yeah, they love to protest over nothing.
The French love to protest. It is the national pastime around there.
Well, no, we still got time. You took a break in the middle to make that Manhattan. I got to cut out. Let's see if I have any more questions from viewers.
Yeah.
You don't know too much about beer.
I mean, you can ask me. I know a lot of stuff about like the legal parameters and stuff for beer, but not so much about like taste and making and things.
Logan's goes, how can I drink so much at night but then wake up so thirsty? It's because you should drink in the morning too. That's the simple answer to that.
I did hear a really good hangover tip recently.
What's that?
So, when you drink and you wake up at 4 a.m. and you can't fall back asleep?
No.
Okay. Well, are you 30 yet?
When I drink, when I get like, I do wake up at like 6 a.m. and I don't go back to sleep.
Yeah, exactly.
I like being up early and I just deal with it. So I'm not tired at all.
Yeah. So when you're dealing with that, like for me, I go to bed around like 11 and I'll get up at 4 a.m. If I drink and then I can't fall back asleep and I'm like, I don't want to wake up until 7. You're supposed, so apparently it's your blood sugar crashing and it's worse when you're older because this has only started happening after I turn 30 or 31.
The sands of time.
And it is a total sands of time thing. But the key is to go into your kitchen and like eat a piece of bread or like some crackers or something. Just something like get your blood sugar a little bit higher and then go back to sleep.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's a good tip that I learned recently. And honestly, it's been working. So
I did get a new question. What are your thoughts on the recent popularity of natural wine? Yeah. What exactly is natty wine? Is natural wine legit? I've never even heard of this. Just seems like marketing.
It's Brooklyn stuff. It's hipster. So
it's made with real grapes. It's like, what does natural wine not have? So
natural wine oftentimes will they won't filter things and they'll have like skin contact for longer. So for me, a lot of natural wines taste like vinegary to me. Like they taste like kombucha a little bit. And I think a lot of people really like that about natural wines. I personally hate that. And then people will also they're kind of foggy looking.
Ew.
Like some of them. Yeah, I really don't like them. They're really hipster. A lot of people like them. They're really trendy right now. I don't think that there's any real benefit to them versus a traditional style winemaking. I personally just like the taste of traditional style winemaking more. Not to say there's not natural wines that I've had that have been like, oh, this is pretty good. But when you get into the real funky ones, not my thing.
Are people very pretentious about it?
Some people swear up and down. They're like, oh, there's
they don't give you hangovers.
People freak out about sulfates. That's the big thing that they freak out about with wines. And the thing with sulfates is there's a lot of canned food that have more sulfates than a bottle of wine does, even with the most sulfates. So if you're not getting a hangover after a tuna fish sandwich, you're probably not getting a hangover because of the sulfates in your wine. It's probably because you just simply drank too much wine or you drank wine with a bunch of sugar in it.
I did experience my first hangover at 15.
Why? We weren't drinking.
I wasn't drinking.
Do you get too jacked up on the whole Eucharist or what?
No, we were having a spirit assembly, and one of the challenges for the spirit assembly was a pickle jar eating competition. pickle jar. Like we each had a jar, and I beat the other two contestants. And in victory of eating all the pickles the fastest in the pickle jar, I drank all the brine, and so I felt. Like 30 minutes later, I felt so sick and I had a headache and I was just like dying. Yeah. I'm like, oh, I drank pickle brine.
Yeah, it's like going and drinking ocean water at that point.
I was I was basically hungover and dehydrated and dying. And I was like, oh, and I didn't get to experience it till like my 20s. And I'm like, oh, that's what that was.
That's crazy.
But I won on an electric toothbrush and didn't use it. Gave it to my friend.
No, you won the glory for that one. You're still talking about it today. That's a glory win. It's doing it for the love of the game right there.
Oh, do you have a favorite activity to do while drunk or buzzed? Or
socialize.
Just socialize?
Just socialize. I also like...
I think I already asked that.
I don't know. I also... Like there's a bar down this, like, have you been to Domini's?
No, I have.
Yeah, like they have board games and stuff. Like I'll go play Giant Jenga or whatever. That sounds fun. When I was younger, I used to like to dance. I was like a big like let's go out drinking and dancing. I'm old now and
do you like karaoke?
Don't like as much. No, I really don't like karaoke.
No?
It's like a stimulus thing. I really don't like bad singing.
You don't like bad singing?
It really bothers me. It like makes me really crazy. And then I had like a total like overstimulation, like neurodivergence meltdown one time in a karaoke bar because I was in the hallway and I could hear everyone's bad singing in the individual rooms at once in this like cacophony. And I just like had to run out and freak out. I was like, this is horrible.
Good singing doesn't do it.
No.
Bad singing.
It's bad singing. But if
Can
you're going
you sing?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't participate in karaoke.
So you don't even have like a go-to karaoke song?
No, because I like hate it.
Interesting. Yeah. If I get enough of me, I can do one.
And it sucks is like so many of my friends like love karaoke and I will have to and they'll constantly be like, maybe she's come around on it. I'm like, no, I truly hate karaoke.
No, it's good to like have like I can't do that. I tell people I'm like I can't go to the club and they're like let's go dancing. I'm like I can't dance.
I hate it.
And it's not like no, I literally can't dance and like the club music and like blasting.
How are you at a wedding?
I don't get invited to weddings.
Okay.
I'm probably decent. I'll probably be bored.
Yeah, because my partner's that way too. He's like, I can't dance. I don't like the club music and stuff. So at a wedding, I'm like dragging him on the dance floor. Because I'll dance at a wedding nowadays, but I'm not really like going at my way to go to the club. But if I'm at a bar that's playing like fun music, like, I'll get up and sing and dance. And
that's different than a dance club.
That's different. Yeah.
Yeah, you're just like two people like, oh, let's go dance real quick.
Yeah.
It's not at a club. It's a whole like that's part of the whole thing is dancing up on people. I'm the guy in the back corner looking like a creep and like I can't dance. I'm not doing any of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically a lot of what I had asked. I feel like I learned more about hangover cures and hangover preventatives.
Got a lot of
I thought I would learn more about wine, but it's funny because it just goes in one ear and out the other. I'm like, there's too many terms. It's like leftist political speak. I'm like, it's too. You need to simplify it and make it like there needs to be one syllable words.
It is because you can get dorky about it too. Here's my thing with wine is I don't get pretentious about it because people find wine intimidating because it is pretentious. And the loudest people in the room about wine are pretentious. And so the thing is find what you like and then expand upon that. So like if you know your base, okay, you know that you like this Douro wine right here.
But here's my
next
question.
time you go to buy wine, be like, hey, I had Portuguese wine that I like, and maybe they'll recommend another Portuguese wine. Maybe they'll recommend stuff similar. That's why like when you got here, I asked, what kind of candy do you like? What kind of food do you like? Because that helped me to dictate what cocktail I would make.
Would you say wines by country are similar?
It depends on the region.
See, that's the other thing. You're like, ask for more Portuguese wine, but I'm like, I don't know. So
I mean, Portugal's a fairly small country, so I think you're pretty safe with that. And the winemaking regions are, they're
very similar taste.
Yeah.
See, I didn't even know that geographically, like a small country's all.
I mean, because a lot of Portuguese wine is like port too, which is a totally different style. But like France, you're going to have different based on the regions because it's a bigger country and a lot of it is wine regions. But,
what's your favorite food to drink with wine?
I love red meat.
Just a steak?
I love a steak.
May I?
Oh yeah, you take whatever.
I'm gonna take this bottle home with me.
You can if you want. It was a sample. It was not. We have like a case of that, and I've just kind of been taking it to parties like slowly over time.
How do you cook your steak?
I like medium rare. What do you?
You've lost my respect.
What? Why?
Rare.
Oh, fair enough.
Rare. I like it
like blue.
Yeah, like charred on the
I like
outside.
it medium rare to rare. I can't do it if it's like too pink.
You've
but
lost
if it's
your Midwest status.
I know.
How dare you?
I know.
So, that's basically
Anything more than that, though, I'll judge you. Like if someone says medium, absolutely not. That's garbage.
Unless you're like, I feel like third worlders can't get over that.
Oh yeah.
People like foreigners, like they have to like really cook their meat because their meat. Have you seen the guy eating raw chicken on like TikTok and Instagram?
No.
Every day he's eating like raw
Terrifying.
chicken until he gets sick. He's on day like 60. And
Send me it. I'm curious.
He hasn't gotten sick. So
I had a medium rare burger one time in
those are
Brazil. And I remember when I bit into it, I was like, I'm nervous, but I'm going to keep going and see what happens. And I'm totally fine. I did not get sick. So.
Whenever there's a restaurant that offers you like, how would you like it? I'm like, as rare as you do it.
Yeah.
It tastes better, which is weird because like I don't have a taste for alcohol, but it's like not even like candy, but like meat. I'm like that's where I shine.
So next time you have a steak, you should get some red wine and just taste it with it, just to experience that because it does enhance the flavor of both things.
Ooh.
It does. And I mean, it depends on what kind of like red wine you like. Like last night, like my partner made steaks and we had a Bordeaux that was like from 2013. So it was very, very nice. That's like my favorite combo. Or a lot of people do like Napa and steak. And I'm, as much as I've talked a lot of smack today on New World wines, Napa and steak is a wonderful combination.
One last question. Why does aging a wine make it better?
Great question. So it depends on the wine. If it's a nicer wine and it's from certain areas, then it ages well. Otherwise, it's not going to age well. It's going to oxidize.
Do some wines age badly?
Yeah.
Whoa.
So like this wine, for instance, that we're drinking, both of those probably I wouldn't have in 5 years. But I have like some Grand Cru Class A Bordeaux on my wine rack that I'm not going to touch for 10 more years.
Damn.
Yeah. You just have to know what ages and what doesn't. And so like when I was selling like Grand Cru Class A Bordeaux, I would talk about the aging potential when it came to the vintage and be like, this wine is showing aging potential because of XYZ.
I think another problem with wine is I want to learn, but
There's so much to learn.
as I drink wine, my capacity for learning diminishes because I'm getting more buzzed and I'm like, I don't fucking care. I want to get drunk.
Yeah. No, the thing to start with is just figure out what you like and expand upon that. So if you know you like this, next time you go to the liquor store, be like, I had this and I liked it recently. What'd you like about it? Pinpoint those things and then talk to the people who know more than you and they'll recommend things.
One last thing. Do you know how they say a glass of red wine is good for you?
Mm-hmm.
That's a confirmation, or not confirmation, that's correlation causation fallacy. It's because people who can afford to drink one glass of wine every night have better lives than poor people who. So it's like, yeah, these people who only drink one glass of wine have better lives, have better like food, go exercise, whereas the people getting drunk and like or can't afford wine live worse lives. So it's a bad study for everyone out there. That's been the podcast. So where can people follow you if they want to know more? Why I know you're on TikTok. You have very alcohol. We didn't even talk about spirits too much. We more talked about wine, but you do both.
I was going to say, I told you I do the Patreon, so we can talk about Patreon if you want to.
Yeah, absolutely.
So on TikTok, I'm Zandruh Mixes, spelled Zandruh. Oh, sorry, not Zandruh. I'm Zandruh Mixes on.
I'll link it in the comments
X.
and everything.
Sorry, on TikTok, I'm Zandruh Elizabeth. So Zandruh Elizabeth. And then on Instagram, I'm Zandruh, Zandruh. If you look up Zandruh spelled Zandruh, you'll find me around.
Just look in the notes. We'll link everything.
Yeah.
All your social media, all your stuff. And if people want to learn more about alcohol. Also, all the fans have been asking for a drunk episode where I'm a little buzzed right now. I'm not bad. So
I'm okay.
You're gonna have to tune into the Patreon. You're gonna have to shell out $5 to see me drink. I'm gonna drink 4 glasses before I start the Patreon.
Yeah. Maybe give him a shot of whiskey before the Patreon.
Oh yeah, maybe. Anything else?
No, that's all.
Thank you for joining me. Thank you for day drinking with me. Oh, the sun is still out. That's gonna hit me in the face.
The sun's been out the whole time. This feels like patio drinking because my living room's so bright.
Yeah, very.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw.